Today I'm going to teach you 12 easy poker tips and strategies that absolutely every struggling or beginner poker player needs to know. Let's jump into it. Number 1, no cheap draws. You absolutely need to make them pay to chase their draws. Let me give you an example. You raise it up with the Ace of Hearts and Queen of Clubs, and a fish calls you. Now, this is one of these recreational players. They just play the game for fun. They are not watching a video like this. They're not trying to get better. Poker is just their form of entertainment. So the flop comes down with the Queen of Diamonds, 10 of Spades, and 4 of Diamonds, and we have flop top pair, top kicker on this board. So what should you do in this situation? Well, a lot of people decide to get tricky here or make a small bet, but I take the opposite approach. You should absolutely be betting 80% of the pot here, and let me break down why. First things first, guys, there are a lot of draws on this board. For example, a Jack-9 of Hearts has an open-ended straight draw, or a 7-6 of Diamonds has a flush draw. When you bet a significant amount of the pot, say 80% of the pot, which would be $8 into $10, for example, you are charging these hands to chase their draws. You are making it mathematically unprofitable for them to chase these draws. So guys, make no mistake, nobody gets cheap draws against you. Make them pay. Number 2, no more freebies. Bottom line, you need to fight for the blinds more. So let me give you an example. Once again, it is folded to you in the small blinds. You look down at the Queen of Diamonds and 8 of Spades. Not an amazing hand, but when there is only one player left to beat, this is absolutely a situation where you should be raising. Do not limp into the pot here and give a freebie to our big blinds. Allow them to play in position against us, and also do not fold your hand here and just give this pot away for free. Guys, always remember, when it's folded to you in the small blind, there is only one player left to beat. If you have anything even remotely playable, and Queen 8 absolutely classifies as remotely playable, raise it up, force them to have a hand, and force them out of the pot. And we're going to talk about that right now. Number 3, lay the hammer down. So guys, bottom line, just say no to slow play. Let me give you an example. You raise it up with pocket cowboys, 2 red kings, the King of Diamonds and the King of Hearts, a beautiful hand, and a regular player calls you. So the flop comes down with the Jack of Hearts, 8 of Spades, and 3 of Hearts. You bet they call. Pretty standard stuff here. I probably don't need to go too deep into this. We have the second best hand in the game and a strong overpair on this board. You absolutely just want to be making a bet here. Do not get tricky. Turn comes down with the 4 of Clubs. What should you do, guys? You want to bet big here. This is the number one mistake that I see with my students consistently, is they try to get fancy. They go for the check call here. They try to play their hand in a manner which is tricky, because they've seen some famous high stakes poker player do this in a $1 million cash game. If you are watching this video, I'm going to assume you probably don't play in $1 million cash games on a regular basis. Those strategies that you've seen world-class players using in those games, they will not work in your $1, $2 game in the casino or your $25 buy-in tournament on the internet. Make the most obvious play here every single time. Make another bet. By the way, it's important to remember that we're often bluffing here. So why would you not bet when you have the big hand? Always ask yourself that question as well. If you're bluffing here, then you should be betting here when you actually have it. Speaking of bluffing, number 4, bluff your nothing. Never take 100% loss. Let me give you an example. You raise it up with the 5-4 of Diamonds versus a regular player, and by the river, the board reads the King of Diamonds, 6 of Spades, 7 of Diamonds, 2 of Clubs, and 8 of Hearts. So we flopped the world on the flop with an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw, but it's a rough game sometimes, and we have absolutely missed everything by the river, and we have 5 high. There are absolutely 0 cards that this player can have that we are ever going to beat here. We have 0% chance of winning this pot without bluffing. So what should you do here? Yeah, you should absolutely make a bluff. Straight up, guys, if you have absolutely no chance of winning a pot by checking it down, and you are up against any kind of normal thinking player like this who's not a recreational player, you should absolutely fire the bluff here and give yourself an opportunity to win this pot. Number 5, overbet your free rolls. I'm going to be honest, guys, this one is pure fire, and I've made an absolute career out of what I'm going to show you right now. So you raise it up with the ace king of hearts, an absolutely gorgeous hand, and a fish calls you. So we're up against one of our recreational friends. Once again, they just play the game for fun. They're playing all sorts of trashy, junky hands. So the flop comes down with the 10 of hearts, queen of spades, and 9 of hearts. Boom. This is an absolutely dynamite flop for our hand. We have a gut shot straight draw to the Broadway straight. If it comes with one of the 4 remaining jacks in the deck on the turn or river, we will make the unbeatable straight, but we also have the nut flush draw, and that means we're drawing to the best flush possible. If it comes with any heart on the turn or river, we will also make the unbeatable hand. So you bet they call on the flop. We have such a massive draw here. Absolutely want to be betting. Turn comes down with our money card, the Jack of Diamonds. What should you do here? Once again, guys, I'm going to go completely off the board here. You've probably never heard this advice here. Bet 200% of the pot. And so, for example, if there's $50 in the pot, you bet $100. Why is that the case? Why would I suggest something crazy like this? Well, let's look at the board, guys. We have the nut straight. We've already been through that. We have the 10 jack, queen, king, ace, unbeatable straight on this board. But in addition, we are free rolling the river. If this player has a straight as well, which they definitely can have on this board, we are free rolling the river. If it comes with any heart, we immediately win the hand. So even if this player has ace king, just like we do for the nut straight here, we are free rolling in this situation because we have an additional way to win this pot on the river with any heart. So bottom line, guys, when you have the nuts in a situation like this, but you also have a backup free roll, for example, to hit a flush on the river, you want to overbet the pot here, because if they have a straight as well, they're not going anywhere. You have infinite implied odds here. Double bet the pot, triple bet the pot, go all in. I've made a career out of this. I don't know why nobody's teaching this stuff. It's crazy. All right, guys, number 6, check raise your monsters. So let's talk about getting max value now versus the aggressive players. This is the number 1 player type people ask me about all the time. Nathan, how do you play against those crazy players that are always trying to bluff me at the poker table? Let me tell you how right now. So you raise it up with pocket threes, the 3 of hearts and the 3 of clubs, and an aggro player calls you. So one of these loose aggressive maniacs who plays all sorts of junky hands and is trying to bluff you. So the flop comes down beautiful for us. The ace of hearts, 3 of spades, and 6 of hearts. Boom, we have nailed bottom set on this board. A set is 3 of a kind. This is a nearly unbeatable hand in this situation, so you bet they call. Once again, guys, do not slow play your hand here. You absolutely want to put your foot on the gas pedal, especially in small and mid stakes games. Make them pay. So the turn comes down with the Jack of Diamonds. What should you do? Well, I'm going to go off the board a little bit here. Once again, from the regular strategy, you should 100% check raise in this situation. Now, I've written entire books about this. I talked about this in extensive detail. For example, in my second book, Modern Small Stakes. Why is this strategy so effective against aggressive players? It's because you're using what they love to do. They love to bluff. You're using this weapon against them. When you check here on the turn, you immediately wave the white flag. In their mind, they think that you have nothing, and what is a bluffy player going to do? They're going to bluff, of course. So guys, let the aggressive players bluff. Go for the check raise here, and by the way, this traps the maximum amount of money in the middle when you have the 4th best hand possible on this board, and for all intents and purposes, you literally have them crushed here. You're over 90% to win here versus almost any hand that they can possibly have. So guys, check raise your monsters versus the aggressive players and thank me later. Number 7, never play junk. Straight up, this is the number 1 reason why people lose at poker. You call pre-flop with what we call an ace rag hand, the ace of diamonds, 6 of spades. By the way, never play this hand. I have charts and diagrams in my free poker cheat sheet which show you exactly what hands to play. I will leave a link to that in the description below. It's totally free. You can read it in an afternoon. But getting back to the hand here, we get called by a regular player. Flop comes down with the ace of spades, 7 of clubs, and deuce of diamonds. So beautiful, right? We have hit top pair. Guys, the problem here is we are in terrible shape if they have any real ace, for example, like an ace king, ace queen, or ace jack. All of those hands are 85% to win versus versus our ace rag in this situation. So this is a perfect illustration of why I highly suggest that you stay away from these ace rag hands. Guys, never play junk at the poker table. That's what amateurs do. Number 8, keep your composure. So you raise it up with pocket queens, the queen of diamonds and the queen of spades, and once again one of our fishy friends calls. This is one of these recreational players. Once again, they just play the game for fun. So the flop comes down with the 6 of hearts, 9 of clubs, and 3 of spades. You bet they call. Pretty typical stuff here. We have pocket queens, a strong overpair here. We just want to get paid versus a player who can have literally anything in this situation. So the turn comes down with the 10 of hearts. You bet they call once again. Typical stuff here, guys. We just want to get paid. You absolutely want to avoid getting tricky here. Just keep your foot on the gas pedal. So the river comes down with a seemingly harmless card, the 4 of diamonds. You bet they call, and they flip over 6 4 of spades for the rivered 2 pair. Guys, first things first, deep breath. We've all been in this situation before. The recreational players have to be able to get lucky sometimes in order for them to keep coming back, refueling their chip stacks, and fueling your success at the poker tables. The bottom line here is you made the right play at every single stage of this hand. You made them make a mathematically incorrect decision on the flop, turn, and river. That's all you can do in this game. Deep breath, move on, next hand, keep your composure. Number 9, call their bluff. So let's talk about the aggressive players once again. This is how you beat them. You raise it up with the jack 10 of diamonds, a beautiful little suited connector that I highly recommend playing in nearly all situations, and one of those aggressive players calls you once again. Now this is the kind of player who plays a lot of hands. They love to bluff a lot, so let's keep that in mind when we go see a flop of the king of clubs, 9 of hearts, and 4 of diamonds. So this is a pretty good spot for us here. We have flopped a gut shot straight draw, so we can catch any of the 4 remaining queens in the deck in order to make the unbeatable 9-10 jack queen king straight. And also we have a backdoor diamond draw on this flop. If it came with another diamond on the turn and river, we would make the nearly unbeatable flush as well. So the turn comes down with the 10 of hearts, which is an interesting card because it pairs our hand. What should you do in this situation? Guys, a lot of people make the mistake here of betting again. What you want to do versus an aggressive player is check call. Once again, we are using their aggression against them here. There is absolutely no point in betting again here because you open up the door for them to bluff you, which puts you in a terrible situation here when you only have middle pair. So versus the aggressive players, often you want to use this check call line instead to, number 1, manage the size of the pot, and number 2, allow them to do what they love to do best, which is bluff at the pot. Speaking of bluffing, number 10, never bluff the fish. Guys, this is my iron rule at the poker table as a 10+ year professional poker player, is to never bluff the calling stations. You raise it up with the ace of spades and king of spades, a monster hand, and a fish calls you. Now, once again, this is a recreational player. They just play the game for fun. They play all sorts of trash. They are not watching this video. They do not take this game seriously. Flop comes down with the 3 of clubs, 6 of hearts, and deuce of diamonds. So we've completely missed this flop. However, we know that in poker, 2 out of every 3 times they miss the flop as well. And we have ace king here, which is the best current hand that has no pair. So you absolutely want to be making a bet on this flop, but they call. So the turn comes down with the 7 of spades. What should you do, guys? This is the spot you just want to give up. So many people make the mistake here of trying to bluff the fish, trying to make the players who do not fold. That is an absolute recipe for disaster. Sometimes you just need to give up in poker. Sometimes laying your hand down is the best option, and that's exactly the case when you're up against a recreational player on a board where you have absolutely nothing. Guys, do not try to shove the proverbial square peg through the round hole in this situation. Check and fold versus any reasonable size bet. Number 11, tight is right. So guys, it's absolutely true. Playing tight is indeed the correct strategy to win at poker. I'm gonna say straight up, playing trash will burn your cash. Let me give you just a few examples of some hands you should never play. Jack 9, King 5, Queen 7, 7 4, and I don't care if these hands are suited. All of the hands that I just listed are complete junk. They are hot garbage. Once again, if you want to know all of the hands that you should be playing in all situations, I have charts and diagrams in my free poker cheat sheets, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. But let me just give you some simple math here to bring this point home. Ace Jack versus Jack 9 is 72% to win. Ace King versus King 5 is 75% to win. Why would you do this to yourself? You want to have the Ace Jack or the Ace King. Do not put yourself at a mathematically disadvantageous position before you even enter a hand in poker. This is what amateurs do. You're better than that. Just fold junky hands like Jack 9 and King 5 before the flop. Alright guys, number 12 is to get full value every single time. You never want to let them off the hook in poker. Let me give you an example. You raise it up with pocket kings, the second best hand in the game, the king of diamonds and the king of spades. Flop comes down beautiful for us. The 4 of hearts, 4 of spades, and 5 of clubs. You bet they call. Standard stuff. We have a strong overpair here. We just want to get paid. Turn comes down with the 10 of spades. Once again, guys, keep it super simple here. You bet they call. River comes down with the queen of diamonds. What should you do? Well, here is the situation where a lot of people seize up. A lot of people get scared in a situation like this. They want to manage the size of the pot. They don't want to get raised. But guys, this is a backwards way to think about the game. What if they have a hand like ace 10, for example? They're not going to be folding here on the river when you make another bet, but they're often not going to bet that hand, so you're only costing yourself money by not giving them an opportunity to put some more money into the pot when you have the best hand. So guys, bottom line, do not let them off the hook in poker. Always get full value every single time. Alright guys, like and subscribe if you found this one helpful. And once again, if you want to know my entire strategy to absolutely smash the small and mid stakes games, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That will be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. All the best at the poker tables, unless you're on mine.